game is so much different on console compared to PC. That FOV. Oh, I can't go back. Oh, I remember this clip. I remember this. I'm pretty sure that this is still when kills counted as cleanups instead of like your downs, and then whenever that player got finished off. Because I'm pretty sure right here I'm going to finish off some of this down.
Hang on.
Yeah, this guy on the left. It's going to count for a kill. Yeah, we talk about that in the video, but like, that's still so weird to me that was ever a thing. Wait a second, does this M4 build not have a monolithic on it? And it has a Merc foregrip? Oh, if only I knew how wrong I was doing it. Such a young Warzone espresso. You innocent soul, you. Bro, that was one of the things though that I straight up loved about early Warzone. I like to consider myself like a slightly above average player. And a lot of this game comes down to outthinking your opponent, right? Bro, that guy should have checked his corners. The other guy should have known I was there, but it was just easy kills. And for like the first 2 months of Warzone, you could pull off incredibly easy outplays. It was 3D chess, and easy 3D chess at that, if you had the knowledge and awareness of spatial recognition of the map. Dude, what? And I thought I was a decent sniper. Yeah, there's no winning that if you're that guy. And that was my first Warzone win. That was, well, second. The first one, I remember it vividly. My footage corrupted. My capture card just didn't work or something like that. But it was up above. It was on that hillside above the dam. My M4 finished him off. It was like our first or second game on, like, when Warzone was public. And I was like, oh, sick, dude. Win percentage is 100%. We got to call it there. So that was my first documented Warzone win here, and that was 365 days ago, which is crazy to think about. 365 days of free-to-play Call of Duty, and something that sent Call of Duty into the stratosphere in terms of mainstream popularity once again. If you took the 2 highest COD games in franchise history up in the golden era of Call of Duty, of Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3, and you put those sales numbers together, you still wouldn't reach the unique number of logins that we had seen throughout Warzone. 70+ million has been reported so far. Now, 365 days later, we may be on the edge of some big changes coming, but today I want to take some time to reminisce on the past year here that we've had, give my thoughts and kind of feedback of what we saw throughout all of that time, and my overall impressions on the first year of Warzone. So, as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. What do you guys think here of Warzone Year 1? Did you like it? Did you think there were some missed opportunities in there? Maybe not so much, you didn't enjoy it. Whatever it is, feel free to let me know. But, as well, if you enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Cold War, and anything COD related. We're on that road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep it the day with all of it. So if you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. Let's talk about the first year of Warzone. Now, this video is going to tackle a bunch of topics, but I want to start out with some of the biggest changes we've seen since then, because truthfully told, a lot has changed in those past 365 days. I know we talked about a few of these a few weeks back, but the gravity of it may be lost on some because some of these actually were huge fundamental shifts. First thing being that it was trios only. When it first launched, Warzone was only available in trios. Things like solos, duos, and quads came post-launch, and I guess that was to try and make sure the launch was as stable as possible instead of trying to chase down bugs in 4 individual game modes, if any arose, but regardless, it was trios only at first. Additionally, kill credit was given to the person who cleaned up a kill. A really weird one that kill credit wasn't awarded to whoever knocked them. Instead, it was just whoever ended up doing that finishing move. Personally, I'm incredibly happy that this one was changed, and I know that there were a lot of people at our pre-release capture session last February where basically everyone was saying the exact same thing. That was a necessary change that needed to be made. Vehicles also were nerfed tremendously. Launch vehicles, more specifically the truck or the Bertha, that was one of the most overpowered things. The turning radius of the truck had the same as the handbrake SUV or TAC Rover, meaning you could make real quick, sharp 90-degree turns, and it was absolutely nothing. Plus, it was also something that was heavily armored, had more speed than it does now, so the meta was to drive this thing backwards and just run people over. So thankfully, that's no longer the case. Cash drops are also way more abundant. Cash drops guaranteed you cash out of every crate that you opened, which was incredibly helpful because you gained cash so fast. Now you only have the chance to gain cash, which doesn't even give you a huge cash yield if you find that in most drops. And also, loadout drops were only 6,000 cash instead of 10,000 as they are now. Again, this is perhaps one of the biggest changes, along with kill credit, I'd say, because you could probably loot and find enough cash for a loadout in under 10 chests. But not only in terms of some of the fundamentals, but the change in play progressed as time went on. The game, to me, I think got faster and faster. My first games, looking back at them, like that one in the intro, none of them I consider special by today's standards, but looking back, it's fascinating to me to see how it was prioritized, what players were looking for in their loadouts. Early on, the big thing that I remember was Cold-Blooded and Thermal were absolute dominant kings early on. Near launch, Thermal character heat signatures didn't really seem to have a render distance drop-off, so if you had a Thermal sniper and the enemies didn't have Cold-Blooded, you had perfect intel on where people were all the way across the map. And while EOD was picked up during the RPG meta a bit, it wasn't always something that seemed to be a necessity, especially again near the launch of Warzone, since Cold-Blooded was such a huge perk to have equipped to negate out that effect of being seen by thermal sniper scopes. But we also saw a huge evolution in terms of weapon meta for Warzone over the last 365 days. We of course firstly saw those thermal snipers and things like that. We saw the RPG meta become something within the first week or two that was incredibly overused. The Akimbo Snake Shot meta was something that was absurdly powerful at a time. The Growl, the Bruin, the Kilo, all fantastic weapons, but were absolutely the clear dominant weapons for equal amounts of time throughout the year. Then we saw Cold War's integration. We saw the DMR and Type 63 be the absolute melt machines that would kill you at almost any distance in 2 shots if you hit a headshot. Then we now have things like the AUG FFAR meta. So there's been a clear-cut change in terms of what people prioritized, and that play has just seemingly evolved as the year has gone on. Aggressive play also, again, is one of the big things now that you'll see in terms of almost all content. Players that stream or try and push themselves here kind of have set the bar way higher than where it was the very beginning of the game. I know that the first month or so of Warzone, it seemed very much so slower in pace, where people were still trying to figure out the map, and I'd probably say like a 15 kill game was something that was considered good, but now you take a look at it and 30 bombs are standard. Maybe not for me, maybe not for you, but for what is in that upper echelon of skill brackets, what is considered good are 30 bombs and things like that. You have people setting records of squad kills over 100 kills in a game, and I think that's even like on the low end of that world record, and in some tournaments is even regular now at this point. So aggressive play has absolutely become something that has grown as the year has gone on. Now, when it comes down to it, I had a blast here this past year in a lot of different areas. The channel saw some great success here, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. I've had a blast playing Warzone. I haven't played a Call of Duty this much in years, so I've had a blast with Warzone and everything, but I definitely have some criticisms, I think, for this past year. Firstly, and the biggest thing I think is that I think that the first year went by too slow in relation to content reveals, release, and then capitalization on opportunity. I understand that development takes time, but Warzone, I think, captivated an audience that we had never seen in the COD franchise before, reaching new heights never imagined. Not only when you take a look at just those sheer numbers that were introduced within this past year of 70+ million players, but when you have things like the Gulag becoming a mainstream meme to all social media and regular everyday use, even to people that aren't playing Call of Duty, you know that you've hit something big. But when it came to the actual game itself, we got 1 or 2 updates every month or 2, but nothing ever truly game-changing. In the year since Warzone launched, we've had the bunkers open up, the stadium open up, train station open up, a roaming train introduced, subway stations introduced and opened up, and a few new goat trails that made scaling mountains easier, of weapons integration with Season 1 of Cold War, reimagination of Blackout in the way of Rebirth Island, and a new ship in Season 2. But when you take a look at it, again, even just averaging that out, that's not even one thing every month. So when you have a free-to-play game that was trending upward for so long, and you don't really capitalize on introducing things to keep players around, I think that was a missed opportunity. Bunkers, stadium, train station, the subways, they're all really small niche items that don't really get visited often. And I might even consider the new ship in there as well, where after the first couple of days, I haven't really seen all that many people landing there unless they're doing challenges for the Outbreak event. I feel like when it comes to the free-to-play market, attention span is much smaller than, say, somebody that actually paid for a game. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it also means that you have to capitalize on keeping that interest as long as possible. I feel like we should have seen some more drastic changes to the map, a storyline that maybe a bomb fell or was detonated in downtown, changing the landscape or something like that, changing the map drastically to the point where you don't just have a few extra rooms that by scale and comparison account for like 1% of the map that has changed. Overall, we just had these ideas, I think, for what could happen every single season in Warzone that never really did. Each season, we had this build-up of, okay, something cool could definitely happen here this season, and I think that there was a valid discussion of, well, that was cool, but we kind of all hoped for more. And I think that kind of encompasses a lot of these seasonal introductions that we had with Warzone, where there was absolutely an awesome potential, but it just didn't quite meet those expectations that we had hoped to see. Now, this might also just me being a little bit picky and a creative difference here. Maybe not so much criticism itself, but I kind of wish that also Warzone would do things in a standalone fashion, kind of like how COD Mobile is. Again, coming back to keeping players interested that are on the free-to-play model, that to keep that interest in the mode high, I wish it kind of got its own development and own content introductions. That's perhaps tying in with too much of a slow argument here, but COD Mobile has a new season like every month with new additions each season. So you put like Raven and Beanox or another subsidiary on solely Warzone, and I bet it could be manageable. A separate battle pass, new camos and blueprints, while also enticing players to still try out the premium experiences like Cold War or Modern Warfare last year, and I think you could have something that works out really well. And I think that when you have that grasp again of 70+ million players in your first year, you got to do something to maximize their long-term retention. Giving them more to do and on a more frequent basis than once every 2 months would absolutely do that, I think. So that's kind of just something that I wish would have happened, but didn't. So we can't really change the past. Could the future hold something like that? That'd be awesome, but I'm not really getting my hopes up for it. But overall, when I look back at the year as a whole, I absolutely had a blast playing it. I know some people it wasn't their cup of tea, and that is totally cool. But one thing that I think is that I don't care if you love or hate it. I think objectively speaking, Warzone did push Call of Duty back on the map and sent it to new heights even. The sheer amount of players that have been introduced to the game is absolutely irrefutable by logged unique users. Plus, Activision stated that Modern Warfare sales, as a result of Warzone, put it in the top category for premium titles in the franchise history, making it #1 over Black Ops and Modern Warfare 3 from back in the day. To pull that off above two of the games that are considered the absolute golden age of Call of Duty, and even with Black Ops Cold War being reported now just in the first couple of months as being in the top 20 games in US sales history, a large part due in part to that integration and that free-to-play audience trying out things, it definitely put Call of Duty back on the map. It definitely brought it to new heights. While it might not necessarily be that golden age that we all reminisce about, that we all think is that perfect golden egg, it seems to have elevated Call of Duty to the highest it's ever been. Whether good or bad, again, that is entirely up to you and totally fine, however you think of it. But Warzone's past year has objectively been absolutely massive. And I, as a fan of Warzone, am incredibly looking forward to seeing what's next, whether that's a new map, whether that is some massive drastic change to Verdansk and the storyline changes drastically. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to it. This past year has been a ton of fun, and I'm incredibly thankful for your support here through all of it. I'm happy to have made some new friends in all of you guys here over the shared love and interest here of what we can do on the channel and what we can talk about. So I appreciate you guys all sticking around if you came on board at any point during that, and I can't wait to see what we can do in the future. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. That has been my year in review here for Warzone, and I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down below. What do you guys think here of year one within Warzone? Like it, love it, dislike it, hate it, impartial, whatever it is, feel free to let me know. And as well, let me know what you'd hope to see here in the near future. That said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so I'm a single thing regarding all things Warzone and anything COD related. We'll keep you up to date with all of it. If you guys also want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get content on YouTube. Probably live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But that said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.